Oh, I want to tell you that I think I'm going to call this the Somatic Visioning Lab.
Oh,
Is
very cool.
my name as of today. So this is
Nice.
the first activity of the Somatic Visioning Lab.
Cool.
And our purpose today is to talk about what it is to do this somatic visioning. Davina basically went through the Somatic Visioning Lab before it was even called that and had a really powerful experience of writing a vision with me and then having all these experiences through it. And when I thought about explaining what this process is, I thought, oh, I would love to interview her because I remember hearing that you wrote a vision and that you never thought you would do something like that. And it had a big impact for you. So I want to ask you some questions about that.
Sure. That sounds good.
So, should we introduce you? Do you want to introduce who you are to
Sure. So I'm Davina. I live in Toronto. So I've worked with Sasha, I think now maybe for 4 or 5 years. I met her through one-on-one coaching. I think I came across her name when I was Googling coaches and especially with single women in mind. So I really connected with a lot of her newsletters and what she was putting out there. So I've been working with Sasha since. And then I think 2 years ago, as part of her first cohort of the Turn on Living club, I'll call it the club or group, had a great experience, really loved it. Every month was a different theme, met some really cool ladies. So that was a great experience. So yeah, and I've been continuing to work with Sasha one-on-one ever since.
Fantastic. So during the Turned on Living year, we had a month of April, I think it was, that was dedicated to visioning. So the Somatic Visioning Lab is kind of taking that month and creating something from it. So I guess my first question for you is, what was your first reaction when I talked to you about writing a vision for your life?
So to be honest, I've never done something like that before. So I think my first reaction was like, oh, how do I do this? The other thing is I've never been a long-term planner for anything. I think I really live moment to moment, whether that's good or bad, but I've never been a long-term planner in terms of work, life, career. So it was a challenge for me to think long term. Like that was the other kind of scary aspect of, oh, I've never actually sat down and thought about what I want to do, like, next year or like 5 years from now. It really stretched me in a really good way.
Mm. Do you remember the instructions for writing a vision? Like what stuck with you from that?
I think you told us to think about all aspects of life. So, for example, your social life, your career, or like relationships or other long-term goals. So that was kind of neat to kind of think about all of those areas. The other thing I remember was like thinking about how it feels in your body when you were writing your vision and seeing if your body connected to what you're writing. Did it feel authentic? Did it feel real? Were you excited by what you're writing down? So that was a
Mm,
pretty big guide in terms of crafting a vision that I felt really connected to and that I would feel really happy about actually realizing. I think the
mm,
other thing you asked us to do was to kind of challenge ourselves, like think big, which is another thing that I normally don't do. I'm very risk adverse. But I think the other instruction was to think big and really stretch yourself. And end of the day, maybe it didn't really matter so much if you accomplished all the things you put in your vision, but the fact that you had those like big thoughts, big visions, and yeah, thinking in a different way, having a different way of thinking about your life was really cool.
mm. Yeah, those are two really important pieces. And the somatic piece,
Hmm.
pulling out in the name of somatic visioning. And I think you described it really well that it's the idea of writing from your body specifically to create a text that you will feel that will resonate in your body as you read it back,
Mm,
with the idea that your body will have something to say about whether this is something you really want to do or not.
yes, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
So I actually pulled up your vision
Oh, okay.
from then. Did you get to reread it before this?
No, I came across it. It's funny. I came across it in my book, my notebook a few weeks ago. So I kind of skimmed through it. But I have not read it since. Yes.
I wonder if we want to play with the actual vision.
Yeah, we can.
Um, Before we look at the actual vision, I guess I'll ask you, what did you get out of it? What did you
Um,
get out of writing a vision?
I think number one, it was nice to just think long term and think about what did I want? Like, what were my dreams and hopes? Because again, I've never really asked myself this beyond what's going to happen next month or 2 months from now. So just to think long term was really cool and great. I think I felt empowered because these are my visions. This is what I want in life. I didn't really have to factor in, well, I'm like, I'm single. I'm in a relationship now, but single generally, but I didn't have to think about anyone else, which felt very liberating. So a bit selfish too, because I'm like, this is what I want for my life. This is what I'm going to write down. This is what I feel connected to. So very empowering also to think about me and to give myself kind of validation that my dreams and my visions mattered.
I think that's beautiful. And it made me think as you said that, like, I wonder if there's a cultural context that you're coming out of that, because even to say, oh, I get to have dreams and visions that are for me
Yes.
is
Yes.
different than I would say what most women are trained to do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And again, maybe it's coming from a place with like not having kids and not being attached, but you're right. It does feel a bit, as women, we're told like, you need to get married, you need to have kids, you need to blah, blah, blah. And if you don't have that, then your life has no meaning, which I don't obviously agree with. So it was kind of nice to think about outside of what maybe society thinks is normal for women, there's so much out there for women, so much out there for us, sky's the limit kind of thing. And there's so much we can be doing out in the world, exciting things, having adventures. So it did feel a bit like a big F you to like, hey, I don't really care that I'm not following this very traditional path of what a woman looks like, especially being Indian, because Indian culture, especially getting married and having kids is a big thing. So to not have that in my life, but like, hey, my life still has great meaning and it's still exciting and it's my life, felt great.
Mm. Yeah, as you were speaking, I got this idea that this somatic visioning lab is really good for women who don't have children, or
Mm-hmm.
and especially whose lives are not going on the traditional path, because at some point, those women who have children will also have to ask these questions when their
For
children are
sure.
older
For sure.
and they have more time on their hands and they ask, well, what am I doing with it? But I remember when I was in my 30s
Mm,
and I didn't know if I was going to have kids or not.
hmm.
I remember having this feeling or this fear, like, I'll just be bored. Like, what am I going to do
Yes.
with my life?
Yes.
Everybody's
Yes.
having kids and they're all
Right.
busy. And who am I going to hang out with? What am I going to do? And I
Yeah.
really kind of went very negative in my mind of like,
Mm,
I'm just going to be super bored.
right.
It seems to me like writing a vision is a really good antidote to that.
Oh, totally. And I can totally relate to that. Like, how am I going to fill my time without kids and a partner and stuff? So it just feels like, oh my God, I have all this time in my life. What do I do with it? How do I take advantage of it, make the most of it? So I agree. Totally agree with what you said.
Yeah, and the way that I'm teaching the writing of the vision is it's written in present tense and it's written in this
Mm,
with sensory detail and to be really enjoyable. And as I read your vision, and we'll go and look at it a little bit, it was like, oh my God, it's delicious. It's so good. And
mm,
so it's so different from my life is going to be so dull and boring because I
right.
didn't follow the traditional path.
Yes. Yes.
Like you said, it's a little bit of an FU to the patriarchy in a very,
Yes.
it wasn't the intended purpose, but it is
No.
that.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Totally. Yes. I agree.
In a subtle badass way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wonder, maybe I'll pull up the vision.
Okay. Sounds
It's funny because the word pussy shows up in here. And I know
mm,
that for people who haven't been through turned on living and done all this pussy walking and pussy breathing, it's very bizarre. But
yes.
we were immersed in the culture of being connected to our bodies that way. So it shows up in your vision.
Okay.
Because look, it's like guided by what lighted up my pussy and my whole being.
Oh,
This,
nice.
can you see this here?
Yes, I can. I can. Yes, I remember now writing that down. Again, I probably wouldn't have written that down were it not for the Turn On Living group and you know being connected to my pussy energy.
Certainly not.
I remember when I was writing this, the home vision especially I felt very connected to it. Like as I was
Mhm.
writing that vision, that one came easiest actually, oddly
Mm.
enough. I never thought I was much of a home person. I remember being very, like I had a very clear visual image in my head too, as I was writing this vision of what it looked
Mhm.
like.
So
Sure.
Davina is going to be so kind and open to read for us what she wrote in the two sections of her vision that she wrote in 2023. It's the home section and the travel adventure section.
So, through my work with the Turn On Living group, I became more awake to the desires that had long been inside of me. Guided by what lighted up my pussy and whole being, I realized that I had been denying myself the pleasure of living in a beautiful home. No longer wanting to deny myself this pleasure, I tapped into my creative energy and began to design and decorate the home of my dreams. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was my dream house. I gave myself permission to dream big, make mistakes, exercise self-compassion when the mistakes were not insignificant, and more importantly, allowed myself to rest and periodically take breaks from the project, with the assured confidence that I would bring my dream home to fruition.
Okay, so let me just say that was what we call process simulation in the Somatic Visioning Lab. Process simulation basically is part of what is going to bring your vision into reality, or kind of the behind the scenes of it. So some behind the scenes of this are being described there. And now we're going into the present tense where Davina describes the experience that is pictured in her vision.
I am sitting on my window seat, resplendent with purple-hued pillows with a floral motif, in my cozy bungalow, sipping my cup of tea, feeling calm and content. I gaze out my south-facing bay windows, and my eyes take in the pleasing view of the ocean waves. I get up from my comfortable seat and make my way to my light-filled, brightly decorated, and organized kitchen. I love my light-filled kitchen, along with my bathroom with its plants sitting on the windowsill. I wander into my cheerful and bright home office with a window and feel calm and focused as I sit down in front of my computer. I mentally express gratitude for my lovely housekeeper who visits my home twice a week to keep it organized and clean. I eventually make my way to my spacious backyard garden where I tend to my roses, herbs, and vegetables. The garden is modeled after an English garden. I feel a sense of calmness and tranquility as I sit down on my garden bench and take in the view while listening to the chirping birds and breathing in the fresh air. My eyes wander over to my custom backyard pickleball court, purple of course, with a sense of aliveness and satisfaction as I fondly recall the moments playing with family and friends. I make my way to my warm and inviting bedroom with the one wall wallpapered in a floral motif and the other wall is painted in purple. I love my small vanity table where I get ready in the mornings, the organized closets and my bedroom window seat where I like to curl up and read a good book.
Wow. As you began reading, I felt like I was being guided in this hypnosis of this beautiful place, like almost, when they guide you and you're at the beach, but it was this country home. My understanding is that this is a future home and not the home you live in now. Is that correct? Or
Yes.
how does this vision relate to your current reality?
Yeah, it's pretty night and day currently. Like I live in a Toronto condo, although I do have purple walls in my bedroom, so that part's true. And as you can tell, I really love purple. So I would say some parts of this are reflective. I guess my current environment is a bit reflective of this vision, but I think this is really a long-term vision. Maybe where I see myself once, I'm retired or hopefully a bit before retirement. But
Mm.
yes, but I think the key here is although my current home doesn't resemble the vision, I think the feelings, like when I read this, I get very cozy, calm, pleasant feelings. And although my current home may not currently look like this, I think just the feelings of home are kind of what I try to feel here in my Toronto condo.
I like the way that you have a very relaxed attitude toward the fact that this is not exactly you haven't lived this current vision, but
Mm,
that it's important to articulate for the future.
that's right.
And you said something to me earlier about how writing a vision like this, it feels like potential.
For sure. Yes, because again, I've never really been a home person. I'm pretty relaxed when it comes to decor and stuff. So just even sitting down and thinking about what my future home looks like was again very empowering and kind of liberating too, to know that there's possibility. Like I'm not stuck here living in my Toronto condo. There's possibility outside of that. Again, because I don't really think long term, right? So just knowing that there's something out there that I would really love to have as my home, it could be a bit of a guiding light, I guess, just to help me
Mhm.
make small changes, even if they're small changes, but at least I kind of know what the end result is or the end vision. Also recognizing that that vision might change, like maybe in 5 years, 10 years, I may no longer like purple, and that's totally
Mhm.
fine. So just knowing the visions are changeable, and maybe I'll add to the vision, or maybe I'll take away from the vision. So it's kind of always a work in progress.
I think it's a really important point that this is not a literal or linear process, but more of a magical one. And I
Mm,
think having images is very important for calling us forward. And I remember I've had very strong visions in my life. They would come to me in a workshop and it was like almost psychedelic, like, oh my
mm,
gosh, I'm going to go to this place and create this thing.
yeah.
And then I'll go there and there'll be like one of those things, like a
Mm,
mandala or a certain symbol would be present, but not the whole thing.
right.
So, what I sort of learned with visions is that there's magic and there's power and there's also flexibility. So, I think potential is a really good way of thinking of it. But I
Yes.
see how it serves an important function for you if you never thought long term, because it's like, oh, something else could be possible.
That's right. That's right. Yes. And I like the word you use flexible. I like the flexibility because these are my visions, right? So I have the flexibility to change my mind or decide it's not my vision any longer. So I do like that. I do like that.
And literally, if you get really into this process, you can continually revise it
Yes.
if you want to. Or
Yes.
for me too, it's fun that you have the dream of a custom backyard pickleball court
Yes.
to manifest.
Yes. Yeah. Where I have my family and friends came across pickleball during the pandemic. So it's a fun sport and it's fun to share with others as well.
That seems like a dreaming big example
Yes.
outside the box. So now we're going to go to adventure and travel. So I think it's important that we set up this fact that you had this dream and that your company had this policy around sabbaticals that no one
Mm-hmm.
had taken advantage of yet. So it,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like maybe there's some facts you could tell us about
Sure.
this one.
Sure. Yes, I've been at my present company for quite a long time, and I really like working here. So I think a year or two into the pandemic, they rolled out this sabbatical program. Maybe an odd timing to roll out a sabbatical program in the middle of a pandemic because no one was really traveling. But it gave you the option to take sabbaticals of 3 months, 6 months, or a year. And I remember reading that on our company intranet, and my first instinct was like, wow, I would really love to do this. I remember feeling excitement in my body, like, oh my God, this is amazing. I really want to do this. So I started thinking about it, thinking, okay, what would I do with my 3 months? Because I said, let's start light, let's go into the 3 month option. Travel has always been a big passion. So immediately I was like, well, I got to just travel. So that's kind of how, and then, yeah, that's kind of how it started, this idea.
And nobody else had taken advantage of the policy yet.
No, because I remember talking to HR about it, and my boss and HR is like, you know what? I don't think anyone's actually done this before. You're going to be the first person. I was a bit surprised because I'm like, everyone would be jumping at this chance, but I recognize I'm fortunate to be able to take time away from work. So yeah, it was cool to be kind of like the first person to do this.
And I think that you had some hesitations about it or some fear about leaving people with too much work.
Yes, I had a lot of fear. I like my job and I think I'm very responsible. So I also was a bit fearful about if I leave for 3 months. Will my team be okay? Will my boss be okay? Will they be able to manage and so forth? So there was definitely fear and anxiety around that.
hmm Maybe we could hear the vision and then hear about
Sure.
how you dealt with that fear and anxiety to do it. But yeah, let's hear the vision if you're open to read it.
Yes, it's the summer of 2024. I feel jubilant. My dream of volunteering at the 2024 Paris Olympics has come to fruition. I'm midway through my volunteer experience and I've met so many people and athletes from around the world. I'm also midway through my 3 month sabbatical from work. I spent the first 3 weeks in Italy, where I learned how to make fresh pasta and gelato from scratch. My Paris leg of the sabbatical started with me taking lessons in making macarons. And the last bit of my sabbatical will take me to England, where I will have an extended stay with my family by the sea and take a hiking trip to the Lake District area. I feel grateful, excited, and very much in the present moment. I am so grateful to have met so many wonderful people during my travels, some of whom I hope will be future travel companions. I am awarded the Olympics Greatest Volunteer Award, and those French lessons I took in 2023 really paid off.
I love that. I didn't remember the greatest volunteer award. Okay, so maybe tell us what happened.
Yeah, so some of it came true. So I was not a volunteer, but I did attend the Olympics last year in Paris, and that was always a bucket list item. I'm a big sports fan, so I grew up watching the Olympics every year. So to actually go to Olympics was amazing. A great time. Like again, when I think about the whole sabbatical experience, the word that comes to mind is beautiful. It was such a beautiful time in my life. I went to the Olympics in Paris. I did go to Italy. I took a pasta class, but not a gelato class. And I went to England. I did go to the Lake District area, so that happened as well. And I went to Portugal, and I did meet some really cool people along the way as well. Some really nice people, some strangers. And it was, as I said, a very beautiful time, exciting, and I was just so grateful to have this time to myself because I was traveling solo for a lot of it. I was able to kind of do as I please and, go out and do the experiences or have the adventures that I wanted to without, thinking about anyone else. So that was very liberating, just very liberating to have full control of your time and to be able
Mm,
to do things that brought me so much joy.
mm. And would you say that writing this vision helped you get there?
Totally. I believe so. And I think a big thing too is like I had a lot of fears and anxieties. I remember even having a session with you, Sasha, where I had to list out all my fears and anxieties about traveling or doing the sabbatical. And some of them were very mundane, like where will I do my laundry during the sabbatical? But it really helped writing this vision because under all that fear and anxiety was so much excitement in my body. Every time I kind of could push past the fear and anxiety, I just felt pleasure and excitement in my body. And I
Mm,
think that's what I got from this vision too, just writing it, just so much excitement. So it was helpful to have this vision because I had to keep connecting to the reasons I want to do this and kind of override all that fear and anxiety and realize, no, I really want this. Like this is something, a big dream of mine. And to be able to do it would
mm.
be super exciting.
It was a really big dream for you to do the sabbatical and to be at the Olympics.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Like bucket list item. If you'd asked me back in 2022, would I be doing in 2024? There's no way I would have been like, oh, I'm going to be on a
Mhm.
3-month sabbatical and go into the Olympics. Like that would have never crossed my mind.
So I guess writing a vision is a way to actually do your bucket list, maybe.
Yes,
If you have a
exactly.
bucket list that's just sitting around, maybe you need
Yes,
to write a vision.
exactly. Now I got to think about some new bucket list items. Yeah.
And then there was something about people pleasing too, with concerns about leaving people behind at work and would it be bad
Yeah.
for them? So I wonder, did having this vision help you get over your concerns about
Yeah.
how it would be for them?
Yeah, I think so. I think also knowing that it was only a 3-month sabbatical and you know what, it was also helpful because I talked to my boss, I talked to the people on my team, and they're all very supportive and excited for me. So it was nice to hear them excited and to realize that they'll manage okay. Again, it was only 3 months. But again, just I had to keep connecting back to the reasons why I want to do this, just the level of excitement. Initially, I did feel guilty for leaving, but when I got back again, everyone was just super excited to see me. They were so kind of in awe almost that I did this wanting to know how it was, how can they do it, how was it not working for 3 months and stuff. So a nice return to work, I should say.
So I wonder what you learned about how to walk your way to making parts of the vision a reality, because I can imagine that people might think like, oh yeah, you're going to write a vision. That's nice. It'll
Yeah,
sit in your computer or your notebook and like
right.
what connection does it have to reality? Because here we are and then there's this
Yes,
dream. So
yes.
I wonder what you learned from this process about making the vision a reality.
Oh, it's a great question. I think it's it was, to be honest, helpful to write it out because it's now you have a visual guide almost to what your vision could look like. And again, it's something that could change over time. So again, I might have thoughts in my head, but to have it written out, it was kind of like a bit of a guide to how or what it was that I wanted from my visions. And I think also the key was to keep feeling it in my body. So like
Mm,
I would, go over like the sabbatical and what that would feel like in my body. And again, I felt that sense of excitement. So I think to keep feeling the visions in your body and see if like they're still connecting, do you still feel good about them? If not, maybe you can
mhm,
revise them. But that was part of the process too, to almost feel like you had already achieved these visions and to kind of feel what it felt like in the body. And that was kind of motivation to make these visions come true, I think. Just knowing
mm.
how good it would feel, I guess, to have them.
I think that that's brilliant because it's like the connection with your body solves the problem of it being separate from you. Because,
Mm,
honestly, I was thinking about how you
mm,
cannot outsource your vision to AI Because
That's
what
right.
happens is AI will spin out a million things for you.
Hmm.
Like I'll ask it for business plans. And, there was a study about high school students applying to college. What were the outcomes for people who used AI versus used Google versus used nothing to
Right.
write an essay? And the
Okay.
ones who used AI, they felt zero connection to it.
Okay. Yep.
Of course, that makes total sense. They didn't write it. So,
Hmm.
but when you write it and then you keep reading it and connecting it to your
Mm.
body, like it is part of you.
Yes. 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 I like that. I like that. Exactly. Yeah, you're right. If I had asked AI to write these visions, number one, probably would have been very different. Just wouldn't have that physical connection, that emotional connection too, right? To these
Right. It would
visions.
try to have an emotional
Yeah,
connection with you, but it
exactly.
wouldn't feel like it
No,
tried
exactly.
to.
No.
The reliving it in your body, I think, is what
Mm,
makes it different and having that
hmm.
focus, which is why I'm glad I'm calling it the Somatic Visioning Lab. 'Cause
Yes,
it's like, yeah, you're going into a lab of
that's right.
visioning with your body.
Yes, it makes so much sense. Like the somatic part is a huge part of it. Even like even to prepare yourself to write these visions, I think it's good to be in that kind of very connected state of mind. Like I think you might have suggested doing pussy breathing or some kind of connection to connect to our bodies before we started writing these visions. So I think
Mhm.
they came out really strong and clear because you're already really, in that state of mind or body.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the guidance I will give people is to do some movement practice
Mm,
at,
mm,
at minimum, just to feel alive and awake and sensitive.
yes.
And so that you can feel things, because if you just roll out of bed
Yes,
or you've
exactly.
been on the couch all day, it's like, you're just
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
You're not in your whole body.
That's right. That's
Is there anything else you would advise people entering the somatic
Oh,
visioning lab?
ooh. To be open-minded. Like I think I again liked your advice about dream big. Think outside the box. Don't limit yourself. Just put it down on paper. You can always revise, edit, do whatever you need to do after. But I think go big is my other recommendation. Just go big. You can always pare it back later, but go big. Whatever your
Mhm.
heart desires, just put it down on the page.
I love it. Thank you, Davina.
No problem. My
I think a
pleasure.
lot of people will benefit from hearing this.
Okay, that's cool. I'm glad. I'm glad. It was a great experience. A great experience.